Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Hollowitz, and I want to thank you for being here for this training. So, in my first two tutorials in this section, I gave you a couple different ways to approach selling to your contacts. But let's say on that first day, on Monday, you came in, you did a bunch of work, you worked on your contacts. Now you come in on Tuesday, and you say to yourself, okay, I got to find the prospects that I need to sell to. And the selling to could either be a phone call, an email, or a combination of both. But the one constant here is the email, because you're going to get an email out to everyone that you either called or emailed or vice versa. So the email is the dividing line, or the thing that is unique to all these contacts. So again, if I came in on Tuesday morning, I could go Lookup, I could go ID status, I could go prospect, and as I had just done, there's 4,096. So the first contact that I worked on Monday, I can say, well, this one I emailed and I called. So let me go to the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. And you'll see a lot of these I emailed. So the reason this is relevant is this. I don't want to have to come in every single day and go through all my contacts to get to one like Wayne that I haven't called or emailed, because there's no record of it over here on the right-hand side. So what I can do is I can create a group that will hold those together. And you'll see that I'm a huge fan of groups because they hold information. So, just for your knowledge, in this particular database, no one has been emailed. This is a sample database. I've got a lot of contacts in it. It's sort of a blank database as far as calls and emails, except for what I'm specifically working on in these tutorials. So, let's think about this for a minute. When we come in on Tuesday morning, what we're really looking for is all the prospects that have never received an email, because that's part of the process. They're all getting an email when I work with them, regardless of whether I email them first, then call, or call, then email. They're all getting an email. So I want to find all the prospects that have not been emailed. So let's do this one more time. And we're going to do it in a two-way search. I'm going to come up and click on Lookup. Again, I'm going to go down to ID status, prospect, and that's what we just did. But now what I can do is I can say, listen, we've got this lookup of almost 4,100 prospects. But now I want to find only the prospects that haven't received an email. So I'm going to go Lookup. You'll notice right here, the last email field, I'm going to go, and I don't see it in this list, so I'm going to go Other Field. And I'm going to say, okay, if the last email field, and I'm going to press the letter L for last, and I'm going to go down. There it is. So it took me a little bit of work to get there. If the last email field does not contain data, in other words, it's blank, I want to find all those contacts. But there's one more step I have to do here. I need to come in and click on this drop down and narrow the lookup. So in other words, I'm trying to say, of these 4,100 prospects, how many of these have never received an email? Now, this is a bunch of steps, and I'm going to click OK. So now of those 4,096, these are the ones that don't have an email. Now, frankly, that's a lot of work, and it's stuff you have to remember, and it doesn't really make sense to do it that way. So let me show you what I do. I'm going to come over to the right-hand side. The left-hand side. I'm going to click on Groups, and I'm going to come up and I'm going to go Groups, New Group. Groups are great to simplify things that you're looking up all the time, especially when there's multiple steps or things specifically you're looking for. So I'm going to call this, and I'm going to put a number in front of it. I'm going to put it in 01, and I'm going to call it Prospects with no email sent. And again, I'll just put in something like this, no email sent. I cannot type this morning. Okay. Now, I want to add contacts to this, and I want it to happen automatically. So I'm going to click here on Add Remove. I'm going to click on Edit Criteria. And my first criteria is that the ID status has to contain or be equal to prospect. So I'm going to say equal to, and then I'm going to say prospect. And I'm going to click on Add to List. Now, if I come down here and click on Preview, you'll see there's my number, 4,096. That's the number of prospects in my database. But some of these, the last email field has a date in it. All the other ones, because I've never worked this database, that field is blank. So the next criteria I'm going to set is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to say the last email has to be blank, or the way it's written here is I have to say it does not contain data. So in other words, the first criteria is the ID status is equal to prospect, and the next criteria is the last email field does not contain data or it's blank. And I'm going to click Add to List. Now I'm going to come down and click on Preview. And I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to click OK again. And these are all the people in my database that are prospects that have yet to receive an email from me. So let me do this. Let's say you come in on Monday morning or Tuesday morning, whatever the morning is, and you say, okay, where do I find those prospects that I need to start working? All you're going to do is you're going to come down to Groups, Prospects, No Email Sent. That's the group you got to work. You can right-click on this right here and do Create Lookup, or you can right-click here and go Create Lookup. It gives you a list. Double-click on the first one, and frankly, it doesn't matter which one you click on, because what you're going to do now is you're going to go through your process. You're either going to call or you're going to email this contact, and the minute you do that, ACT will record that you've sent an email, and now they don't fit the criteria of that group. Therefore, they're automatically taken out of that group. So as we send this one an email and the next one and the next one, as you work through this list, that group over here will get smaller and smaller. So I like to use groups to put people in those groups that I need to take action with. And once you take action, they're out of the group. Now let me jump way ahead for a minute. Let's say you email all 4,000 of these. Then the next step will be, okay, we've emailed them all. And imagine for a moment we emailed them all today. Then the next question you need to ask yourself is, how often do we want to email them? If you say, for example, every 90 days, you can create a group that holds all the prospects in which the last email field date is older than 90 days. So if the ID status is equal to prospect and the last email is older or greater than 90 days, it will automatically put them in a group. You go in, you start working them. The minute you send an email, because it's a more recent email, it's within the 90 days, they're automatically taken out of that group. So one of the keys to working with ACT, in my opinion, is coming up with a plan and then slowly saying, okay, how can I organize my stuff so that when I come in on a Monday or a Tuesday or a Friday, it doesn't matter, when I come in to start working, I don't have to spend a lot of time looking for stuff. It's right there. I can just get right to work and take action. And that's what I love about this process of using groups, because it keeps everything right in front of you. And you can create all kinds of groups to hold information that is important to you. And that's a great way to keep you on task. And especially if you're training people or if you have staff, you can use that information to get it into groups so they're not looking for stuff. You know, because one of the worst things is if a salesperson sits down or a business owner sits down and you have limited time, you want to be right on top of it. You don't want to waste time looking for things. You just want it to be there. And that's what this approach tries to do. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tony Holowitz. Thank you very much. Have a great day.